Let me ask you something directly. When was the last time you genuinely changed the way you think? Not because someone inspired you. Not because you read a book that moved you, but because you had absolutely no other choice. That's what's happening right now. Across every industry, every job title, every prison cell, every corner office, and most people haven't felt it yet, but they will. And when they do, it won't feel like opportunity. It's going to feel like pressure. The question isn't whether artificial intelligence will change how people learn and work. That ship has sailed, hit the iceberg, and is already at the bottom of the ocean. The real question is, will you adapt fast enough, or will you become a cautionary tale? So who exactly is getting hit? Here's where most people get it wrong. They think AI is coming for programmers, for data scientists, for tech people, and yes, those roles are transforming rapidly. But the disruption isn't surgical, it's seismic. Let's start somewhere. Nobody expects people behind bars. Think about it. Vocational training in correctional facilities has always been the ticket to a second chance. Welding, HVAC, electrical work, culinary arts, these were the skills that put money in someone's pocket the day they walked out. But what happens when AI-assisted robots take over half the welding floor? What happens when automated systems handle warehouse logistics that used to require 50 hands? The person who's been incarcerated for 5 years walks out into a world that moved without them. And now the skills they trained for have been partially automated away. This isn't a distant hypothetical. It's already happening in parts of the labor market. And the people with the least access to retraining resources, those in cells, will feel this the hardest. Does that mean learning is pointless for them? Absolutely not. It means the type of learning has to change. Critical thinking, problem solving, human-centered skills, and understanding how to work alongside AI. These become the new vocational training. That's not pessimism, that's just reading the room. The disruption isn't surgical, it's seismic, and no zip code, job title, or prison cell is exempt. What about the guy in the corner office? Let's talk management. Because here's the truth that makes a lot of senior people deeply uncomfortable. Middle management, as we've known it for 60 years, is being hollowed out. Why do you need a regional manager to compile reports, track performance metrics, and relay information upward when an AI system can do all three in real time with fewer errors and zero ego? The traditional information gatekeeper role that millions of managers have built their entire careers on is evaporating. But here's where I want to push back against the doomsday crowd, because I think they're getting this partially wrong. Management isn't dying, it's mutating. The managers who survive, who actually thrive, will be the ones who learn to manage something they've never managed before: artificial intelligence itself. We are entering an era of what I call the AI Steward, a new class of professional whose entire job is knowing what to ask AI and how to interpret what it gives back, when to trust it, and critically, when not to trust it. This is not a small skill. This is a massive, underestimated competency that very few people in leadership is developing right now. The organizations that figure this out first will eat everyone else's lunch. And the leaders inside those organizations, they become irreplaceable. Wait, isn't AI supposed to make things easier? Yes. And no, the utopian crowd says AI will free us from boring work and let us focus on creative, meaningful tasks. There's truth in that. AI is already handling repetitive data entry, drafting routine communications, generating first-pass content, and running diagnostics. These are real-time savers. But here's the part nobody puts in the brochure. More capability creates more expectation. When AI tools allow one person to do the work of three, guess what? Companies hire fewer people, not so that the remaining employees can work less. They do it so they can expect more from the ones who stay. You don't get freed up time. You get a higher bar. You get judged against an AI-augmented benchmark. Your competition isn't just the person in the next cubicle anymore. It's them plus whatever AI stack they're running. So yes, AI makes things easier and harder. At the same time, welcome to the paradox. Why won't people just learn? This is the question I find most fascinating, because the rational response to all of this seems obvious. Learn new skills, adapt, evolve. Simple, right? Except human beings aren't rational. We're habitual, we're emotional, we're deeply attached to our identities, and our professional identities are some of the most fiercely protected things we own. Ask a 52-year-old regional sales director to sit in a workshop and learn how to prompt AI tools and watch what happens in the room. Not because they're incapable, they're often brilliant, but because learning feels like an admission that what they knew before wasn't enough. And that is psychologically brutal for people who have spent decades building expertise. This is why the change isn't voluntary. People don't retrain because they feel inspired. They retrain because the alternative is extinction. Job postings are already beginning to list AI literacy as a requirement. In 5 years, not having it will be like applying for a job without knowing how to use email in 2005. You simply won't be considered. The learning revolution AI is forcing upon us isn't about curiosity, it's about survival. The new class nobody saw coming. Here's a prediction I want to put on record. The most valuable professionals over the next decade will not be the ones who are best at their traditional craft. They will be the ones who are best at combining their traditional craft with AI leverage. We're going to see a new professional class emerge. Call them AI architects, prompt strategists, human AI liaison managers. These are people who understand both sides, the human element, the business context, the ethical nuances, and they understand how to direct AI systems to produce extraordinary output. This requires genuine intellectual curiosity. It requires the humility to constantly be a student. It requires what I believe is the rarest skill in the modern world, the ability to think clearly about things that don't have clear answers yet. The people who develop this don't just keep their jobs, they become the architects of how the entire organizations operate. They become, in the truest sense of the word, indispensable. So what does this actually demand of you? First, stop waiting for permission to learn. Corporate training programs are almost universally 6 to 18 months behind where the real world is. If you're waiting for your company to teach you AI literacy, you've already lost a year. Second, get comfortable with discomfort at scale. The learning curve around AI isn't a one-time adjustment, it's a permanent state. The tools will keep evolving. If you need certainty before you move, AI will move without you. Third, think about what you bring that AI cannot replicate. Context, judgment, lived experience, relationships, trust, ethical intuition. These are not small things, but they have to be consciously cultivated and deliberately deployed. Fourth, confront your own learning identity. Do you think of yourself as a lifelong learner or as someone who already arrived? AI is about to ruthlessly sort those two groups. One group will find this era exhilarating, the other will find it terrifying. The only difference is the relationship they have with not knowing. Here is the philosophical undercurrent nobody's talking about. Underneath all of this, the job disruption, the managerial transformation, the new professional classes, there's something deeper happening that deserves serious attention. AI is forcing us to answer a question that humanity has been avoiding for centuries. What are we actually for? When machines can do more and more of what we've defined ourselves by professionally, we are forced finally, uncomfortably, to look at what's left. What is uniquely, irreducibly human? What do we value about work beyond its economic output? What does it mean to contribute? These are not questions for university seminars. They are practical questions that every CEO, every middle manager, every incarcerated person trying to rebuild, every fresh graduate stepping into a transformed labor market, every single one of them will have to wrestle with personally. And maybe, just maybe, that's not entirely a bad thing. Maybe being forced to ask bigger questions about purpose, contribution, and humanity is exactly what we needed. Maybe AI, in disrupting the comfort of the status quo, is doing us a strange favor. Or maybe it just wipes out millions of jobs and creates unprecedented inequality. Both things can be true. That's the uncomfortable reality of living through a genuine inflection point in human history. Here's the bottom line. Nobody asked AI to arrive and rearrange everything. It did anyway. And the people who are going to shape what comes next are not necessarily the smartest, the most credentialed, or the most experienced. They're the ones who decided early, deliberately, and without waiting for anyone's permission to engage with this shift on its own terms. The cell block is changing, the corner office is changing, the classroom is changing, the factory floor is changing. The only thing you get to decide is whether you change with it or get changed by it. Those are the only two options on the table. Which one are you choosing?